Yo, what's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Good to see you again, and we've got a matchup against my man Kevin here. I'm playing Gecko Moria. He's playing Red Purple Law. He's loving the new edition of some of the OP06 cards, and yeah, he ends up winning the dice roll right here. Actually, we tied, I think, like twice. That's why we ended up rolling a billion times, but he ends up taking the dice roll, and I believe he chooses second for this matchup. It's always nice for him to have, one, that extra Dawn, but also a lot of his curve does kind of work off of having, you know, 6 Dawn, even Dawn, so like 4, 6, stuff like that. A lot of really useful plays, so I'm fine with going first in this matchup. This matchup does feel pretty good for Gecko Moria, but it does depend on seeing your Absaloms. Without seeing those cards, it feels like this is just a really rough matchup, and I'm kind of just banking on getting like Ice Age, Great Eruption into like a Lucci play or something of the sorts, but yeah. And we're starting it off. I can usually get like a Perona down early into this matchup, and it feels pretty good to get my opponent to trash some cards and just to kind of see what's happening. But I'm going to get Sindri, and it does put Perona into trash, but unfortunately no other like really useful cards in this exact moment. But he's going to play that Buena Festa, taking a look at the top 5, choosing a film card to pick up here. A lot of the cards that have been added in OP06 are film type, so getting the raise max here is really nice. He's going to go ahead and put it down though. A little risky, but I totally understand, you know, just usually having that card down feels nice, but lucky for us, I've got the Absalom in hand. I'm just going to go ahead and trash that. Definitely going to be pulling it back out, KOing the raise max. And now I've got to choose 2 cards to send back. Pretty easy between the Ice Age and the Sabo. Those cards realistically are doing me no good in trash anyways, so I'll just go ahead and send that back, KOing the raise max, and then passing it over. So I'm forcing him to have a second one, or potentially the 4-cost Law here, or even a Gordon to deal with this Absalom. I know that getting rid of Max was very important, but it does feel like more often than not, I'm just going to be losing Absalom right here from a, you know, from some sort of play. But we will see a Zoro coming down for 3 and then just passing it over. That kind of gives me some information. If my opponent isn't going to be playing another Raise Max or another Gordon, it makes me feel as though he's trying to save up Dawn to potentially put down like 5-cost Kid, and then start, you know, kind of ramping from there. But I will have a 5k swing into his Zoro. He is going to counter out with the Law here, and that actually makes me pretty happy, all things considered. I hate to see that Law in this matchup because a lot of my characters do stand at 5k. So for me now, I'm just kind of looking at what is my best option. I'm probably just going to bring out the Perona from hand, if I'm not mistaken. I do end up just trashing a 8-cost Moria, and now we force a trash as well as swing 6 into the Zoro. So he's just thinking of what card he wants to trash first, and it is going to be another one of the 4-cost Laws and then an Otama. So a lot of the reduction that I was a little threatened by is slowly but surely just going out of his hand, and this makes me very happy. He is going to play the Kid though, and then hits me with the Gordon. So as much as I thought I might be safe, unfortunately not. He is going to use Gordon on the Absalom. It's actually very smart. You would think that, oh, well, Perona is the active character. Why not just bottom deck that? No, I've already got Perona in trash, so it's very easy to just pull back out, but I do not have an extra Absalom, so just getting rid of that is actually very smart. And now he is going to swing 6 with lead. I'll take, and then he passes, not choosing to swing with Zoro. I think this is absolutely correct right here because he's only got 1 card in hand. He wants resources. He wants me to attack him. He's got a very established board, especially with having her Shiraya on board now. Shiraya is such a problem for me. I actually hate that card so much in this matchup. It's extremely annoying because it's one of those cards that you don't feel like you need to get rid of, you know, like immediately, but it does become a problem in, you know, many stages of the game. But I'm just going to go 5 with Perona here just to see what he does. Oh, and actually, I'm considering changing it up. But no, I go 5. He does end up taking this. I was hoping he would rest the Useless Kid so that I could potentially end up seeing, you know, like a way to get rid of it without having to find Absalom, because I don't believe we have it right now. I end up trashing Dr. Hogback, and I don't believe I get the Absalom, unfortunately, out of the top 2 mill. So just getting Absalom, I will return the Kuzan and the Sindri, just picking back up, more than likely a 2k counter. So I'm just kind of considering whether I wanted to pick up the Perona or the 8-cost kid, but I just go with the Perona right here, and I'll just go ahead and pass it. So I feel good. I got a good board. I know that Brand New and Sindri, as much as they look like just useless cards on the board, eventually, since we are wide enough right now, we can potentially just get some swings out of those. But Reiju is going to get him to draw 2 more cards here, which is very useful. It also leaves him, you know, with a bunch of Rested Dawn that he can use for leader effect. And now, you know, big threats are like, okay, are we going to see potentially like a 4-cost Law? Are we going to see potentially a Raise Max, you know, Gordon play? But 5 into my Perona, I am just going to counter out because I know that more than likely Hina or Dr. Hogback is going to get removed off the board right here. So I just want to kind of bide time as much as possible, just so that I can keep as many of my characters on board. But it actually ends up being the Brand New, so he doesn't have any lowering capabilities, which does tell me a few things. But Zoro is going to come out off of leader effect, and he meant to trash the Buena Festa there, but it's funny because he plays a lot of red-green Law, so ends up getting one through on him right there. And now we did end up having the Brand New as well as the Perona removed from the board, but having Hina and Hog back here, I know that my opponents have 1 life, but he does have a pretty scary board as far as blockers are concerned. Just having 1 kid and the Shiraya, Reiju for the next turn as well. This feels like if I get 9 costs down and establish some more characters to the board, we're looking pretty solid. So I'm going to go 5 into the Zoro. He is just going to let the first one go. I'm going to go 5, I believe, once again into Zoro. And this is just a quick rest from Kid. And I'll go 6 into the Zoro one more time, seeing if he will rest the Shiraya and give me a card, or if he'll just let it go. But he does end up just countering out with another Shiraya right there, because Shiraya's effect allows him to get up to the same amount of power as the leader on block. So being a 6k blocker with an easy 1k pitch, very annoying, but makes sense. I'm just going to go Brand New here, rested, and then I believe I'm just going to go Dr. Hogback. I'm just going to draw a bunch of cards. I'm going to get as much as possible, not only into my trash, but just into hand so I can potentially survive some of the following turns. We've got Perona as well as Surubian picked up here, and I'm just going to go ahead and pass it over. I know I'm at 3 life, but I am still kind of sweating. I've played against Kevin multiple times where he has this red-purple Law, you know, build, and I'm sitting here and thinking I'm good, and then all of a sudden I'm just absolutely wrecked by like a Rush Zoro using leader effect into Captain Kid, bringing, you know, 1, potentially even 2 Dawn back, depending on how many he has on the board. So pretty scary, but I feel very confident with the board that we have at the moment. He is going to play an extra useless kid though. Swing 6 into, I believe this is, yeah, just one of the 5Ks. We're going to go 5 into Hina here. I'm going to protect it pretty heavily. I want to make sure that I can try and go for game, but -3 Dawn for leader effect is going to bring out a, it looks like an Ein for just a rested Dawn, but then the 2 Eustace kids give it an active Dawn, so 7 into Hina. And now I'm like, man, if I drop my whole hand here, like, I got to go for game. And if I don't go for, like, and if I go for game and I don't get it, like, we're just in a bad spot. Like, I know that I'll probably end up getting some of these blockers, but yeah, that's the situation we find ourselves in. I finally draw into an Absalom, which was nice. Like, I didn't think that drawing into a second one would take a year and a half, but it is what it is. So saving that Ice Age ended up actually paying off pretty well. Having a sweet deal here with that. So I'm going to go 9 into, I believe, the Reiju. I just know that I don't want him to have game the following turn. If I do go 9 into life, it's just a free life take, and then we're just swinging pretty heavy with Leader and Dr. Hogback, which honestly we can do. It's just kind of scary when Shariah is such a useful blocker. It's pretty annoying for me to deal with in this situation. Maybe swinging with Leader first might be the answer, but I do choose to just go 8k into the Reiju right here. It does let it go. I'll just go 9 into life, and now I will use 1 for the Ice Age to get at least one of the useless kids off the board, and now I can go 9 into life one more time, pitch in that Absalom, bringing it back. But it's just such an easy block for him. Like, the Leader swing late is just, it just doesn't get there the same. And yep, Shariah into a 1k. And I think I was telling him at this moment, I was like, oh yeah, I forgot you could do that. I was like, we're not looking pretty. But with 3 life, oh, excuse me, we're looking good, but it's not looking pretty for my opponent right now. He's got to probably like blocker up super heavy and somehow remove Gecko Moria. So that's not going to be easy to do. Not very easy to do. If he doesn't go that route, he's more than likely just going to have to go for game. And we have 3 cards in hand, 3 life. We're feeling pretty healthy right now. I know that at least one of them is a 2k counter from the Dr. Hogback. The other 2, not entirely sure at the moment. But I think he's just doing the math in his head, debating whether he can just go for game or, you know, he might be forced to, depending on what's in hand right now. Yeah. It looks like a 7k for mine is what he's thinking about. He's thinking about it and potentially using Leader effect at some point to get an extra Dawn with Useless Kid after you've used a few of the swings. So might be his best option. Yeah, I think that those 4-cost laws early in the game though would have been absolutely monstrous against us, but that's tough to know. But another 7k swing with Shariah here, because when attacking, matching Leader power as well. So taking 1 back, gonna go 7 with Leader as well. I know that I have enough counter in hand. I'm just kind of like, all right, I want him to fully commit to this with the blocker, and then we can just go for it. Uses Leader effect, gets 1 ramped on back, swings 9. We got two 2Ks and a 1K. We end up taking the game this time. We had the extra Perona to boot, but it looks as though our life wasn't actually that helpful as far as being filled with a lot of counter. Yeah, super fun match though. I do think that this matchup is definitely favored towards Gecko. Kevin and I tested it out quite a bit more. It feels like Gecko just kind of can go as wide as possible, and Red Purple Law really just kind of succeeds against decks that normally play like 1 character per turn. So pretty strong matchup here for Gecko, but he did end up absolutely wrecking me with some Perona. Unfortunately off cam, we were doing some play testing here at my place, but I'm definitely looking forward to getting some more matches with him playing Perona in the future. But let me know your thoughts, guys. It's good to see you as always, and I'll catch you on the next one. All right, peace.